Right, Steve, so we can talk about the last weekend. It was the Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. And Daniel Dubois has been come under a fair bit of criticism because, like some people say, he quit, whatever it may be. But as it turned out, he's got orbital bone break and like that. So first of all, what's your thoughts on the fight? How you saw the fight going up until the stoppage?
I don't understand which judge had Dubois, you know. I think he needs sacked immediately. I think personally, I had money on Joyce. From day one, I thought Joyce was going to win. I think the thing is with Dubois, he's only learned in the pro ranks. He didn't do much in the amateurs, and he's learned everything he's learned in the pros. I think people forget the level Joyce was boxed at. People underestimate how good of a fighter Joyce actually is because of his style, because of his robotic, but it works for him. And it's, the fact that he's a silver medalist in the Olympics and a gold medalist in the Worlds, etc., shows that and he could have got a gold in the Olympics. Personally, I think he beat him. I think he beat Yoga, but that's irrelevant. I think people underestimate how good Joyce is, and I think
you've sparred him, haven't you?
I have, yes, but it was more of a tech sport, and I think people underestimate how good he is, and how effective his style is, and he proves he's got a phenomenal chin, and he rides the shots well. And I think Dubois' tactics were knock him out, have these bursts of 5-6 seconds, knock him out, go back on the back foot, and just didn't work.
He just dominated him with a jab, didn't he?
Well, that's it. They tell you, when you go into a boxing gym, no matter what age you go into a boxing gym, whether you start at 9, whether you start at 19, they'll tell you, jab is key. Jab will take you around the world, and the first thing you'll learn is a jab, because it's the most effective, like fencing, like jousting. It's, the most effective tool in boxing. Keep them away. That jab will bring that out when it needs to come out. And he like you say, he won on a jab, and that's all he needed to do because of the tactics he was getting.
But when you're obviously training, isn't one of the first things you learn how to do is defend the jab, slip the jab, stick your arms up? Dubois didn't seem to have any of that.
No, he didn't. Dubois looked defeated from the second round. When he went back to the corner after the second round, I think he was just lost, and the information that he was getting from his corner was all wrong, because there's criticism, there's constructive criticism, there's positive criticism. Listen, sometimes it works for boxers. Do it, a couple of rounds. Do it maybe rounds 2, 6 and 10. Give them that bit of criticism. Listen, you give them a kick up the arse. Listen, you need to come out and you need to do something. If you don't, you're going to fucking get hurt. It's a man's game. But they done that every single round. They spoke to him like shit every single round. Now you're coming back to your corner to be told, right, what's not working? This isn't working. You need to slip that jab, hold the right hand to the body, chop him down, make him drop his hands, then come up with that. Give him information like that. Don't start shouting at him when he's already getting punched in the face for 3 minutes, and nothing's working for him. And then come back to the corner and be told, you're shit, this is a fighter's game. Start boxing right. You're already psychologically down off what's happening to you in the ring, and you could see Dubois was coming in the corner and he was like that, just lost. And what the information he was getting from a trainer, because a trainer isn't just a trainer. A trainer becomes your best friend. He becomes a brother from another mother, which I think with the way me and Marco are.
Yeah.
That's the connection you have with your trainer, and it just the connection didn't seem like they had it. and Dubois was coming out, and he wasn't slipping, he wasn't moving, he wasn't doing anything. And I think Dubois, as well as everyone else, underestimated how effective Joyce was. And that's that. He wasn't getting good information to come out, but like I said, he wasn't. His hands weren't up. He wasn't slipping. He wasn't rolling. Because he's been used to coming out there, knocking people out, fighting nobodies. You look at his record. Who's he fought? Gorman. Gorman had a lot of psychological problems leading up to that fight. Take nothing. I'd like to see that rematch before the Dubois-Joyce rematch. I'd like to see the Gorman and Dubois rematch. While Gorman is 100% up there and in there, let them have a rematch, because I was part of that Gorman camp and I know he was going through some mental preparation before the fight, and I'd like to see that rematch before I see the Joyce and Dubois one.
Good call. Good call. What about when Dan Dubois, his eye was starting to close, and when they were working on it in the corner, you could see the pain in his face, and his corner was still going at him, still berating him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 23 years old. You remember what it was like 23 years old, what, 7 years ago for you?
Yeah. I wasn't in boxing, but if I put it into my terms, football, if we were getting beat 4-0 and I come back in the changing rooms and you could see us all sitting there, and our coach was sat screaming and shouting, there's, as I say, it works. Maybe it's 1 or 2 rounds that gives you that boost that you need. It gives you a kick up the arse. That whole reverse psychology thing works for some people. Once in a blue moon works for some people, all the time. And that may be the way his coach speaks to Dubois full time, which is fine. That's fine. You take nothing away from that, but still tell him what he needs to do. Give him 30 seconds of shit, and then give him 30 seconds of tips of what you need to do. Okay, right, you need to start boxing, you need to do this, you need to do that. Give him that kick up the arse that he needs. But, by the way, this isn't working, that's not working, you're not slipping, you're not moving your head, you're coming round to his right side all the time, he's catching. But they weren't doing that, it was just boom, 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 boom. Negative, 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 negative. And you could see every time he went to the corner, he was just slouching and slouching and slouching. And yeah, his eye was sore, which, but I think Joyce done the worst thing in the world. Sorry, not Joyce, Dubois done the worst thing by coming out and saying, I've never been hurt, I'm not going to get hurt, getting personal with his man. I've never been hurt in sparring, I've never done this and I've never done that. I think that was the worst thing to do, because he said that. I think a lot of people are now on his back because he come across as this, I've never been hurt, I've never been down, I'm invincible, to then quitting. And he's actually very lucky, because if you remember Povetkin Price, Povetkin hit Price and Price was out on his feet. His arms dropped and he was out. Now Povetkin could have just given him a little shot and he would have fell. If you remember, Povetkin jumped in with one of the biggest left hooks I have seen in boxing. Why? Because he's got that instinct. Dubois is very lucky. When he backed off and started rubbing his eye, Joyce didn't just pounce on him, because imagine if Joyce just went, I mean, it was only a second, but you think you can hide 3 shots in a second. Imagine if Joyce had have just jumped in with a massive right hook or a massive left hook or a backhand. It could have been 10 times worse. So people don't look at it that and think, that could have been a big, big knockout. The fact that Joyce, I think, the fact that he done it in the way he spoke before leading up to the fight, I think that's why a lot of people are calling him a quitter, a shit house. But listen, people sitting on a keyboard calling somebody a shit house that's in there getting jabbed the face off for 10 rounds is all good and proper. They don't know what it's like to be in that. So I think the only people that can call somebody is a boxer, is somebody who's been in that predicament, in that situation. And I don't think it's for anybody to call him from the outside while they're just sitting at the patio drinking a can of Carling. Do you know what I mean? You can listen to criticism of some people, and there's other people where you'll just go. So I think the criticism that he gets of people at the top end of the game and other boxers, I think he needs to take on board. Criticism he gets on Instagram and of people sitting at the keyboard, I think will go over his head. But he's 23-year-old. This might break him. I hope it doesn't, because I wouldn't wish that on anybody, regardless of what. Well, I mean, the kid's got potential, and I'd like to see him come back from this, and hopefully he can rebound from it.
My thing at the minute is, until we know how serious it is, when Kell Brook had it happen, the orbital bone break with Triple G, and then the next fight he had it with Errol Spence Jr. That's smaller guys. Down Dubois, with that same break against big punches.
Yeah. Will it just open up?
Will it just crack again? Could it potentially be career over?
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, that's that would be for the medic profession to say, listen, I wouldn't do it, and has he got a backup from boxing? Has he got a plan B if boxing doesn't work out? If he is advised not to do it? But like you say, it's very different getting hit off somebody 10 stone to somebody 18 stone. And if it breaks again, what's the long term damage to it breaking again? Could you end up blind? So you're spot on with the fact that he's got a lot to think about. And I think I found it very disrespectful with the way Warren just sort of, just didn't even congratulate Joyce. It was all about Dubois come back stronger. This is happening, and he's great. Joyce was just standing there, and you think, congratulate him, he's your fighter as well. Do you know what I mean? But I just thought it was disrespectful, and I think a lot of people were disrespectful to how good of a boxer and what Joyce has actually achieved in boxing.
I agree with that. Totally agree with that. All right, I mean, a good luck to him. I said he's only 23 years old. Hopefully he does come back stronger,
definitely
improved. Otherwise, Joe Joyce has shown the blueprint how to defeat Down Dubois. If you don't make any improvements, that's how you beat Down Dubois.
Exactly.